Perfect. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Basma. I didn't mention that at the start of this meeting. I'm an Enrollment Services advisor, and I graduated from the University of Calgary last year. So super excited that I get to work with students and I get to do these webinars for you all. So welcome to University 101s with Professor Rex. For today's webinar, we will be talking about Student Center 101, and it's kind of combined with Student Record, but sort of combine all the content in one webinar for you all. There is a bit of content to go through for this webinar, but my intention is to go super slow and clearly explain you everything. I will request you to keep your questions towards the end of this webinar and then just share them with us in the chat. I am joined by Andrew, so if you kept thinking, who is this Andrew replying in the chat here? He's the subject matter expert on our team and is joining me today to support your questions towards the end of this webinar. So if you see him replying to your questions, know that he is helping me today. With that, let's get started. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. So for this webinar, my intention is that by the end of this session, you will feel super confident navigating your student center, which includes your home, my service requests, personal info, exams and grades, program and advising information, and my financial sections. Wow, that was a mouthful. Hopefully, you'll be able to use your student center to easily obtain your personal or academic information. We'll also talk in detail about service requests. If you have never used this tool in your student center, I'll show you how you can. We'll talk about FOIP. I didn't explain you what the full word is here, so it's an acronym, but we will talk about in detail how FOIP impacts you in your documents. Third-party authorization, RESPs. Again, if you're not familiar with what they are, we'll talk in detail. Transcripts, requesting transcripts and electronic transcripts. So through MyCreds, we'll talk about that. And connecting with the appropriate resources for further inquiries. And I put that point in there and I realized that pretty much Enrollment Services was there for all the connection points there. So I'll show you the contact information for our team towards the end so that if you have questions, you can ask us. I think one thing I didn't mention here, and that's that my intention with this webinar is to have a partnered approach. So your questions will help me understand the kind of questions students generally ask, and hopefully will help me become a better advisor. And the intention is that this webinar will enhance your understanding of Student Center and student records. So we're going to collaborate together and you're going to help me. And I don't know if I should call you all friends or team. We'll decide that hopefully by the end of this webinar. So starting off with the homepage, so if you are starting university this fall, or if you are a continuing student, you would have seen your student center. And when you log into your student center, this is the first page that you see. At the top of this page, typically you're going to see any of the news related to University of Calgary. So kind of the staying up to date section is what this top area is. Below that is usually your name. I blocked it out because I didn't want to reveal student information, but it also has your UCID listed here. So very frequently, sometimes we would get students calling us and they don't remember their UCID and they're struggling to find it. This is a very quick way to find your UCID if you don't remember it. Although my hope is that by the time you're done with your first year of university, you're going to know your UCID by heart because every single exam or assignment you'll complete, you're going to be putting your UCID on it. Advising notes. I'm going to touch on this in a little bit more detail in a minute here, but first let's talk about the to-do list tab here. So anytime there's an action item that you need to complete, we would put that under the to-do list tab here. So for instance, if you had to submit your high school transcript to finalize your admission, the to-do list item would appear here. Similarly, if we ask you to provide your SIN for tax purposes, the to-do list item would show up here. It's usually always clickable, so you can read information about it and also learn how the required documentation or whatever we're asking for can be submitted. The notices area is used for essentially any time you want to notify you for something. The example that I can think of is, let's say your tuition was past due, the notice will come up here saying past due charges or overdue charges. When you'll click on it, it will give you more information about that notice. Your enrollment start time, we talked a lot about this in the registration webinar that happened last week. So if you didn't attend that webinar, make sure the recording will be posted soon so you can go back and check. But essentially your enrollment start time is going to tell you when you can register for courses. It's not an appointment where this is not the only time when you can register for courses. You have time until the registration deadlines, but it's just the time assigned for you to start your registration. Okay, now let's talk about these advising notes here. So anytime you interact with our team or even your faculty and the advisor wants to maybe share some resources with you or some information in the form of a note with you, they'll post an advising note that's visible to you. You can click on view my advising notes and it's going to take you to this next screen here where it will show you what the note is about. So again, if you have multiple advising notes that are visible to you, you'll see them here. And I don't know, if I talked to a student about how they can register for courses and I shared with them a how-to guide that's available on our website, it's difficult to provide the link for the how-to guide over phone. So maybe I just wanted to share that with the student. I'll create a note and share that with you. Usually if you click on this note icon below the advising note, it's going to show you the comment that the advisor has put up. I grayed out this one, but you can imagine how this function would play out if you had a visible advising note on your profile. So a really good resource, and the reason I really like it is because it allows me to collaborate with students. So if we talked about 10 different things in an advising appointment, I can recap sometimes what we talked about in a note for the student so that they don't have to come back and discuss the same questions again. Okay, so the rest of your homepage here now, we have the info for your registration here. So your terms, the courses in your shopping cart, your enrolled courses. I did talk in detail about all of this in the registration webinar. So I wouldn't go into much detail here, but this is the area that you would use for registering for courses or seeing courses that you're either enrolled or listed for. The thing that I want to focus on is this quick links tab here. So if you want to quickly just log into D2L and see your courses in there and I don't know, find the course outline for your course, this is a quick link that you can use. Similar to that is the link for your Office 365 apps, including your email, tax receipts. If you're trying to access those, you can use these quick links here for that. Similar to that is donation receipt, enterprise learning, if you're interested in learning about that stuff. And then you also have Student Success Center link to that. The academic requirements report, I'm going to go in detail when I talk about your program and advising information page, but essentially these links are here and are a great resource. I don't know if I mentioned it so far, but typically anything in your student center that's red in color, it's a clickable link. So you can click on it and find more information. And I think that's true for our website as well. So if you find something in red, try clicking on it. Coming to my service requests. So this is an incredible tool that we use to support you if you have any requests that need to be completed by Enrollment Services. When you click on the My Service Request tab, this is the landing page that you would see. So it's going to have link to our Contact Us page. If you're not sure about how to use this tool, which would make me think that you haven't attended this webinar. But in general, if you're not sure what you're doing in the service request tool, feel free to contact us. We also have information about the service requests on our website. So the landing page kind of links you directly to that. What I really like about this landing page is it would tell you what the status of your service request means. Usually under review or more information required is under review is we're taking a look at your request, and more information required is we're asking you to give us more information. I really like the service request tool because it's not like an email where you sent it and you don't know if someone has looked at it. Whereas here, based on the status of the request, you can tell what's going on with the request. So it's a really neat tool. So if you create a new request, the link for that is on the landing page. If you submitted a service request already, right below this create your new request, another table will show up for your submitted requests, and that's where you can see the status of your request as well. So when you click on Create New Request, the only option that shows up is Enrollment Services. So anything that's under the scope of Enrollment Services, that's what you can submit a service request for. If your question is for faculty or any other department, you wouldn't be able to use this feature for that. So if you select Enrollment Services and go next, this is the page that will come up. We have 4 request types right now. One is My Financials. It's basically like any question that you have in your My Financials section of the Student Center. The My Financials request type can be used for that. So questions about your fees, your payments, or any other concerns, the My Financials category can be used for that. My Financials support is for awards and financial aid primarily. So if you're applying for loans and I don't know, an additional form needs to be filled by the institution, you can submit us that form using the My Financial Support category. My registration is anything to do with your registration, and keep in mind, we wouldn't be able to support you for finding the right classes for your program. That's a faculty specific thing. But let's say you wanted to audit a course, you can use this My Registration category and submit that request to us. My student record is anything related to your student record. So if you wanted to update your legal name on file or change your residency status, that's what the student record category is going to cover. I will be focusing in detail on the student record category today. And I'll show you what submitting a service request looks like as well. Okay, so the next page that you will see in your Student Center is the exams and grades page. If you're starting university this fall, you won't see any grades in there yet, most likely. But this is the section where you would see all the information related to your grades. So each semester that you complete, the courses along with the grade that you received for that course shows up in this format. So we'll tell you the term. If there's a GPA assigned to that term, it's going to show you the GPA, tell you your program name, the year of program you're in, and all of that information. And then it will tell you the grade that has been assigned to you for each course. In terms of your exams, if you have registrar scheduled exams for your classes, the schedule for those exams would show up in this page of your Student Center as well. It will tell you when and where your exam is as well. I go in detail for confirmation of registration as well as your transcript, but I want to touch briefly on the deferred exam requests and the GPA calculator. So once you have your schedule for the exam, which is typically almost like a month after the start of the semester, you have access to your exam schedule. And for any reason, maybe a religious thing or something else, you're not able to attend that exam, you can request a deferred exam for that. If you have questions about it or you're not sure if whatever reasoning you have is eligible to request a deferred exam, you can always contact Enrollment Services and we can discuss that with you. For the GPA calculator, so on your exams and grades page, you'll notice that you wouldn't find your cumulative GPA for all the semesters that you have completed. You would only see the GPA for each semester. But if you're interested in calculating after, I don't know, 1 year of university or 2 years of university, what is my cumulative GPA? You can use the GPA calculator and calculate what your GPA is. It's a super neat tool and it's fun using it. Okay, so let's talk about transcripts first here, because that's one of the quick links that you see in red there. It's not a quick link, it's just a link that you see there. And I hope I didn't miss anything there. No, I didn't. Okay. So unofficial transcripts. So once you have taken maybe your first semester and you just want to see what your transcript looks like, you can look at your unofficial transcript as a current student, and you can look at it even after you graduate as well. The unofficial transcript can be downloaded straight from your student center. When you click the link, it's going to show you this table. Make sure you choose the report type as courses and credits. And then when you will click view all requested reports, it's going to open a PDF file. The biggest thing to note here is that make sure pop-ups are not blocked in your browser, because we get that inquiry very frequently that I'm clicking view report, but nothing is coming up. That's most likely because you haven't set up the settings in your browser and it's not showing you the PDF file that's opening. Your unofficial transcript will give you an overview of your progress at UCalgary. It will have any of the courses that are currently in progress as well. So if you've registered for courses, they're going to show up as in progress. And once you have a grade assigned to it, it will show up with the grade. We do have a how-to guide posted on our website. So if you forget everything that I talked about and you want to look at your unofficial transcript, Andrew, can you please share the link for the how-to guide in our chat here so that everyone has access to it? And when we post this recording on YouTube, the link will show up in the description of that video as well. Okay, coming to your official transcript now. So the link to request your official transcript is also found in your exams and grades page. Your official transcript will provide a record of your academic history. It looks pretty official, has the stamps and signatures that it needs. Your unofficial transcript typically doesn't have those. For your official transcript, this is all the information that it's going to cover. So it will have your name, your student ID, your date, birth date, the program and faculty that you're enrolled in, list of all the courses that you're registered in, you attempted or you completed, grades that you have received for courses, grade point average for each term. So similar to what you were seeing in the landing page of exams and grades, it's going to look very similar to that basically. The units or credits that you have received for each course. If you've completed your degree, it's going to show the degree or credential that you have been awarded, the transfer credits that you have received, honors and awards, and any active academic misconduct sanctions or non-academic misconduct conditions. Your transcript cannot be altered in any way, so make sure to keep that in mind. Okay, official transcripts continued. Which option is the best for you? So if you are going to be requesting an official transcript, we have different types of transcripts that we offer. The first one here is an electronic transcript, which comes to you within 1 business day. I'll talk about in detail of how you can request your electronic transcript. You have the mailed copy of your transcripts. If you're looking for a paper copy, you can request a mailed copy or a courier. The courier costs you money and it gives you a tracking number with your transcript. Mail does not provide you a tracking number if you're requesting the mail option. And then if you want just your unofficial transcript, we just talked about how that can be requested. If you're requesting a paper copy of your transcript, it will take 5 to 7 business days of processing time. If you're requesting an electronic transcript, I think I mentioned it already, it's going to take 1 business day to come. Okay, so how to order your transcripts if you're requesting an official one. When you click on that link to request official transcript on your exams and grades page, this is the page that you will see next. So all the information again would be covered about the different types of transcripts that we offer, the 3 types of ordering options that you have. So immediate processing, if you want it immediately, grades posted. I don't know if you've ended the term, but you're waiting for the grades to show up in your student center, then you can set it up to grades posted, and that way we wouldn't issue a transcript until all your grades are in. Degree conferral date, this is if you're nearing graduation and you don't want your transcript until you've actually conferred your degree, you can choose that option. In the transcript types, if you're sending it to an institution or an organization, you can use the issue to institution category. If you just want it to yourself, you can request issue to student. As I said, let's talk in detail about the electronic transcript option, because we do get quite a lot of questions about it. For this transcript option, we use the MyCreds platform, and I'll show you what that platform looks like. We do have a how-to guide on our website to order transcripts as well. You'll get the link for it in the chat in case you're interested in making sure that you have like each screenshot as you're going through the process of requesting a transcript. For the electronic transcripts, so as I mentioned, we use the MyCreds platform to give you your electronic transcripts. Once you request an electronic transcript through your student center, you get an email within 1 business day from MyCreds letting you know that, hey, your transcript is ready. Here are the steps that you need to create an account on MyCreds and access your transcript. Do not try to create an account on MyCreds prior to receiving that email. But once you get that email, it will have all the steps that you need. When you do log into MyCreds, this is what the landing page is going to look like. It's going to show your transcript, which university is it from, the date that it was issued, and that's pretty much it. It has some information about other things on top here as well. When you click the blue link for transcript, you'd be able to view your transcript. One thing to note is that if you're requesting your electronic transcript for the first time, the system is going to ask you to purchase a share credit, which costs $8. Viewing your transcript is not going to use that share credit, but if you want to share your transcript with another organization, that's when that $8 share credit would be used. So you can click on this link here. When you'll click transcript, this would be the screen that would show up. You can click on this plus sign besides share credits, and that would allow you to purchase a share credit. If you decide to share your transcript with yourself, you'll have access to download your transcript as well. Otherwise, it stays in MyCreds and you're only able to view it. Okay, so this was the how-to guides that I've been talking about. So on our how-to guides page, you have all the detailed guides for requesting unofficial, official, electronic, paper copy, all kinds of transcripts. It's a really good resource. It's on our website, on the registrar's office website. All the guides related to everything that you would honestly ever need is posted there. I really like those guides because they have screenshots of the step-by-step process that you would need. So they're really helpful to review. If you get the how-to guides link, make sure you've bookmarked it because it's going to be very helpful. Okay, coming to the program and advising information tab now. So we talked about service requests, we talked about exams and grades on your home page. Coming to your program and advising information page. So at the top of this page, you will have all the information about the program that you're enrolled in. So the student is pursuing a Bachelor of Arts, and it seems like they're doing a double major because I don't know, it seems like they're super smart. And their double major is in communication and media studies and political science. Interesting. So this page will tell you all the information about the program that you're enrolled in. It also tells you the year of program that you're in, as well as your academic load. If you are a full-time student or a part-time student, it's going to show that here. If you have registered for courses and are not 100% sure that whether you're a full-time or a part-time student, you can always go and verify that information from the program and advising information page here. We again have some links here below your program information. We already talked about academic requirements. Oh no, we didn't talk about academic requirements. So academic requirements, this link will help you determine what is required for your degree. If you are in that situation right now where you're not 100% sure what courses you should be taking, and I don't know, maybe your appointment with your faculty is not within a week or so, you can use this academic requirements tool and determine what you still need to take. It's a really neat tool. Anything I believe that's in progress would show up as a yellow check mark. So if you've registered for courses, it's going to show you that yellow check mark. And once it has been completed and graded, it's going to change that into a green check mark. Once all the requirements show that green check mark, you're set to graduate. The Gpa calculator, we talked about it. Change of program, if you're interested in changing your major, you can use this change of program link here and it will take you through the steps that you need to do. My advice would be if you're interested in changing your program, always have a conversation with your current faculty as well as the faculty that you eventually want to transfer into before you're putting in this application to change your program. I will show you the step-by-step for the confirmation of registration letter that we have, but let's take a look at the other links here first. We have the what if advisement report. Again, it's kind of goes hand in hand with the change of program. If you want to see what happens if you transfer into a different program, the what if advisement report would be super helpful. The letter of permission is if you want to take courses at another institution while being enrolled at the University of Calgary. You can request this letter of permission through your faculty. Again, prior to putting in the request for this, have a conversation with your faculty about it. You have the link for Schedule Builder again, course search, application to graduation and convocation status. Most likely you don't need to apply to graduate yet if you are a upcoming first year student, but once you're nearing your graduation, you can use those links there. The last tab, I guess the last tab on this page is what you will see for advising help. So I mentioned quite a few times that you should be contacting your faculty. The link for every single faculty's advising page is also posted here, as well as Enrollment Services. So if you don't know how to find the contact information for your faculty, you can use these links here and find that information. Okay, I feel like I hyped up the confirmation of registration letter too much. So finally, we are talking about it. So the confirmation of registration letter is basically a letter that will confirm the program that you're enrolled in, whether you're a full-time or a part-time student, and a few other pieces of information in there. Sometimes we get inquiries from students and they ask us, how do we confirm our enrollment to a third party or for RESP purposes that I'm just going to talk about next. This is a letter that can be used if you're looking into doing that. We offer 3 types of confirmation of registration letters. There's an exchange letter, general letter, permit letter. All of them have almost similar information with a few differences here and there. The best part is that it's free of cost to print these letters, and it's not, again, going to actually print something. It's just going to show you a PDF file that you can view and download. So if you want to explore in your student center and see what these letters look like, feel free to do that. When you select the letter type that you need, for most purposes, in my understanding, the general letter type fulfills the criteria. It's going to ask you the term that you want the letter for. So make sure you're clicking the search icon next to these terms in order to find the right term. Because I don't want students to know these codes for each term. So make sure you click the search icon and then you can pick the term that you need the registration letter for. Keep in mind that you can only access this letter if you've actually registered in courses. If your courses are sitting in your shopping cart or if they are waitlisted, you wouldn't be able to get the confirmation of registration letter. Perfect. So going into the My Financial section now, we will talk in detail about the My Financial section during our fees webinar, which is happening next week. I wouldn't go too much in detail about what the top portion of the screen looks like, but I do want to briefly touch on the awards and scholarships section of the My Financials page. So in the My Financials page under awards and scholarships, you can find the link here to apply for undergraduate awards. And you can, when you click this link, you can also see any of the applications that we currently have open for undergraduate awards. You'll also see any of the awards that you have been offered, and it will show you the status of the award as well. If it's dispersed, most likely the funds have been given to you or applied towards your tuition. If it's asking you to accept your offer or something else, it's going to give you the link right above the table to do that. The biggest piece to know about awards is that if you are a successful recipient of an award, you get an email from us congratulating you, and then you get all the information you need about the award. So how it's going to be dispersed, is it going to come to you or apply towards your tuition? Any other pieces of information that you need will be in that email that you get. So make sure you're always keeping an eye on that email and saving it for your information. If any award would be sent directly to you, we do have the option of sending it to your bank account. The only way we can do it is if your direct deposit information is added to your student center. So the link to do that is also posted here. Make sure you have that information in there if that's the option you would like to use. Otherwise, if your direct deposit information is not there, we would send you a check on your address on file. But again, read that email that you get when you're a successful recipient of an award. And then if you have more questions after that, give us a call and we can talk. And I will give you our number towards the end. I feel like I keep telling you to give us a call and you don't have a number yet to call us. So I'll share that in the end. I have a contact us page. But that's pretty much it about awards. Let's talk about a little bit on your student record part now. So when I mentioned at the beginning that we will talk about FOIP, I meant the Freedom of Information Protection Act. So when you begin your application at the University of Calgary, any information that's concerning your student record, it's collected and it's maintained throughout your academic journey and even after you graduate. We have this Freedom of Information Protection Act to help us determine what information is just viewable to the student versus what is considered public information. And I have a table on the next slide to explain to you what I mean by public information versus information that's only for the student. The information that we collect from you is under the authority of the Post-Secondary Learning Act, and it is required because we need to register you into your program. According to FOIP, you should always be communicating with the university using your UCalgary email. And you'll notice this when you call us as well. The first thing we ask you is what's your UCID? That's for us to identify that we're actually speaking to the student and not any third party. If you do want a third party to contact us on behalf of you, you do need to authorize them. I'll talk in detail about what that third party authorization looks like, but let's first look at what's public information and what's information just for you. So let's say you are doing an internship or something, and your employer calls us and be like, is the student actually enrolled in this program? That is considered public information. So we can tell third parties whether you're registered at the university, which faculty or program you're admitted in, any current or past dates of enrollment that you have at the university. If you've already graduated, we can confirm the third party if you were awarded a degree or not. And you can also tell them the date that you were awarded that degree. So all of that is considered personal information, but anything related to your admission status. So if a third party calls us and asks us whether the student is actually admitted in the university, or do they have tentative admission or finalized admission, we wouldn't be able to share that information. Similarly, let's say your parent calls us and asks us, is my child enrolled in STAT 213 because they want to go into dental school? We cannot confirm that information. So anything related to your course registration cannot be confirmed. Grades, how you're doing in school cannot be confirmed. Your fees and financial information, confirmation of registration forms. So these letters that I just talked about, we can't give these to a third party without your consent. Degree pickup, I just wanted to mention that there, and it's more so related to once you graduate, perhaps. But if there is a degree, what you graduated and that you never picked up your degree, and you have a friend or family who wants to come and pick that up, again, they wouldn't be able to do it because it's confidential information. And that's what you would need the third party authorization for. So for any reason, if you want someone else to contact us on behalf of you, as I mentioned, you do need to grant them authorization to do so. The process to do that is very straightforward. So the service request tool that we talked about at the beginning, you would use that tool to complete a third-party authorization request. So when you select Enrollment Services, you would select My Student Record and click on Submit Third-Party Authorization and go Next. It will show you the screen, which would be the landing page of that request category. And for third-party authorization specifically, we have a form that we like you to complete. When you click open link here, it would show you this form. I wasn't able to fit the whole form in this screenshot here, but mostly it's just going to ask you the name of the authorized person, their contact info, and what kind of access that you want to grant them. If you just want them to have access to your fees, maybe your parent is paying your tuition on your behalf, and that's the only piece of information that you want them to have access to, you can check the box to say yes. If everything else is a no, you can check those boxes. And then period of release as well. So if you want them to have access one time only, so maybe they call us once, get the information they need, that would be a one-time authorization that you have granted. And once they've called us, we'll go in and take the authorization off of your account. If you want to give them access for an extended period of time, you can say the exact start and end date of your authorization here. I don't think so I mentioned it so far, but for third-party authorization, it can only be granted to individuals. If you're trying to give third-party authorization to an organization, we wouldn't be able to accept that. So if you're, I don't know, telling that United Nations can access your student record, we wouldn't be able to give authorization to such organizations. You do need to give us the name of an individual in order to proceed with the authorization request. And as always, if you have questions, call us and we'll talk about it. Okay, so the RESPs now. So it's kind of tying in with that student record theme that we are going on here. I did mention RESPs at the beginning. These are Registered Education Savings Plan. Your parent or guardian, I'm not sure, might have started it when you were younger to use funds towards your education. And If you want to use those funds now that you're in university, that's where an RESP form would come in. So it depends on your provider. Some RESP providers are pretty okay with you submitting a confirmation of registration letter to them. And that's the letter that we talked about earlier. However, some providers would have a physical form that needs to be completed by the institution confirming your enrollment. If you have one of those forms, you can submit those to us using your service request tool once again. So you go into student record type and use the subtype submit external verification form. I really like this category for not just RESPs, but literally any other thing that requires external verification. You can submit that form to us and we would be able to complete it for you as long as it's just asking information related to your enrollment and maybe your program name and simple things like that. Anything that would ask you in the form, if the form is asking the institution to complete your expected graduation term or is asking us to provide what's your GPA or things like that, our team wouldn't be able to provide that information. So just keep that in mind. If you have forms that you're not sure can be completed by Enrollment Services, don't hesitate to give us a call and we can discuss. But for RESPs, you'll request this submit external verification form type and just upload your form as an attachment. We complete the form for you, give it back to you as a new attachment on your service request that you can download. Okay, so just like I mentioned, instead of having a physical form completed, maybe you just need to confirm your registration at university. You can use the confirmation of registration letter and provide it to your RESP provider to get access to those funds. Okay, talking about updating personal information now. So using that same category of student record, you can also update some of your personal information. There are two sort of types of personal information update that I'm going to touch on. There's part of your personal information that can just be updated by you and you don't have to reach out to Enrollment Services to get that update. So for instance, if you just want to update your preferred name on file, you can do so through your Student Center. In the next slide, I'll show you how you can do that. Keep in mind, changing your preferred name is separate than changing your legal name. That's the biggest piece that students miss out usually on. Your legal name is part of your student record. And if you're interested in changing that, you would have to provide us documentation to get that legal name changed. But otherwise, if you just want to have a preferred name on your student center, you can have that. Your email, so this is a bit misleading here. You can't change your UCalgary email, but your personal email address on file can be changed. So if you have a personal email listed as your alternate email to contact you, that is something that you can edit. Your address information, if you want to change your address, you can do so yourself. Again, you don't have to contact us. Similarly, emergency contact information can be updated by you as well. Your citizenship status cannot be updated by you. You would have to contact us if there are any changes to your residency status. So if you're being granted permanent residency or protected person status or became a Canadian citizen, those changes need to take place through Enrollment Services. So the update of personal information that I just mentioned, if you're trying to update your address by yourself or the preferred name, in your personal information page on your Student Center, there are these little pencil icons in front of things that you can edit yourself. You can just click on them and it can change the information there. The email address option, as I mentioned, it wouldn't let you change your UCalgary email, but the other email address on file that you have, you would be able to change that. Your preferred email address while you are a student at the university stays your UCalgary email, so do keep that in mind. Okay, but what if you wanted to actually change things that are associated to your student record and require Enrollment Services to proceed with that change? You would select the student record category again in your service requests page. And let's say in this case, you're trying to change your legal name on file. You'll choose the option that says update personal information and give us one of these listed documents. We don't need all of them. You just need to give us one document that's listed here, and we can update your legal name on file using that document. One of the common inquiries that we get is a driver's license, which is not listed here. So we do not accept that as a appropriate document to change your legal name on file. But otherwise, as long as you're submitting us one of these documents, we'll process the request and let you know through service request once we have completed your name change. Similarly, if you wanted to update your residency status with us, you would submit a service request with the required documentation. I've linked our website here that goes in detail about updating your residency status on file. Again, we need appropriate documentation. So if you're providing us your PR card to change your residency status to permanent resident, make sure you give us the front and back and we can update the residency status on file for you. I don't think so I mentioned so far, but once we complete your request, usually we put a new comment for you telling you that, okay, your request has been completed and this is what we have done. In addition to that, you get an email notification saying your service request has been completed. And at that point, you can come to your service request page and see what the comment from the advisor is. And I find that really helpful. For your residency status, the biggest thing to know is that we cannot make any changes to your residency status past the term fee deadline. This becomes really critical once you're being granted, for instance, the permanent resident status and there's a change in your tuition assessment. If you give us the documentation after the semester's fee payment deadline, you wouldn't be able to change your fee assessment for that term. So your fees cannot be retroactively changed for previous terms. I've linked our calendar policy here in case you wanted to review that information. But yeah, basically that's the biggest piece to know about your citizenship changes. Again, if you have questions and you're not sure the kind of documentation that you're submitting is appropriate or any other concerns that you have, you can always contact us and we can discuss your situation in detail with you. And then now that I've mentioned our team a million times, I do have the contact information finally for Enrollment Services. So you can give us a call at 403-210-7625. I've listed the QR code for our website here because I thought if you're watching the recording afterwards, it would be easier to just scan the code and go to the website. But make sure you're checking the hours of operation before you give us a call, just so that you know when we're open. If you are an international student, we do offer the service of booking a virtual appointment with us, or you can also book in-person appointments with us too. You don't have to be an international student to book a virtual appointment. It's just a service that we offer. If you just want to book virtual appointments with us, you can for sure. Service requests, we talked in detail about those. You can always submit those if you have requests to be completed by Enrollment Services. And of course, we have our Rex chatbot on the website if you have any quick questions, and Rex can for sure support you with those quick questions. With that, thank you so much for listening to me. I feel like I've been speaking for a million years. I don't even know what I talked about. I'm just kidding. But thank you so much for listening to me. I have listed all the webinars that are taking place this summer. We do have 2 more webinars left, the financial aid and the fees one. Make sure to register for it if you haven't already. And thank you so much for listening to me for so long. I really appreciate it. And I really hope that now that you give us a call at Enrollment Services, you'll remember your friendly advisor, Basma.